Not my wake. I'm looking forward to continuing in this ministry for a number of years yet, but it is important to remember people, and you are just a spectrum of the people I have been involved with over so many years. So first of all, thank you. Hello, and thank you. Thank you for what we have shared together. In 2003, I preached at Rev Canon, and I talked about Wesley and the social gospel. He was passionate about his personal faith. He felt that that had to be strong and the bedrock of whatever you do, but he was equally passionate about meeting need wherever it was, with whomever it was. Things aren't too different today, I said. Our task as Christians, and Christians with a Methodist heritage, is to live out piety. That is an internal and deeply personal faith that is deepened by prayer, meditation, and Bible study. Now, some of you may think I don't do much of that, but actually I do. I spend quite some time just contemplating what is going on, what is the need. Bible study with a social faith whereby we stand tall with the power of God. I struggle to stand tall. To oppose injustice, tyranny, racism, and bigotry of all kinds. The Christians of today, as in every era, must learn to shout with the prophet Amos of the past, "Let justice roll like thunder." We are living in such a time where justice and kindness and hope are as much relevant now as they have ever been. 3 words that I'm not going to speak about individually of my 25 years and longer: privilege, joy, and what a precious gift. Privilege to serve the communities of Lincolnshire, food and farming, the people, the organisations, and the people again. It's all about people. It's about all your faces who have been influential in my life, and hopefully in some way I have in yours. You who have stirred my imagination, inspired me to go down those farm drives, impressed me with your grit and determination, and in varying ways you have humbled me with your courage in the face of tragedy and loss. You are the people who have given me a privileged place. You've given me confidential access to your deepest fears and scariest dilemmas. And I'm not looking at anybody in particular. It has been a privilege. It is true, chaplaincy goes to places, dwells in situations others cannot reach. It always tries to move above and beyond compassionate pastoral comfort, which is important, to ensure meaningful, transformative connections, and when need is there, ensures systems and organisations have a champion and an effective and supportive catalyst when things ought to be better and can be done better. What a privilege, joy, and gift to be in this space. And I thank God that I was called to be in this county. Wesley referred to his experience here as I am I not a brand plucked from the burning? He felt when he was plucked from that rectory which burned down, that there was a call on his life that would make a difference. He believed it was a sign of a call upon his life. I believe I was called to this role. Nobody should be a chaplain without being called. The bishop reminded his people, his flock, that was important. Don't do chaplaincy if you don't feel it in your DNA and bones. What a privilege. I wasn't a brand plucked from the flame, but I was a kid who endured much in his childhood. What a privilege, joy and gift. To be one of Wesley's preachers. We all stand on the shoulders of giants, or in this case, ordinary farm labouring preachers. And you might not know these names. George and James Lovelace, and Thomas and John Stanfield, and James Bryan and James Hammett. Do you know who they were? The Tolpuddle Martyrs. All of them Methodist preachers who had saw a terrible need. The farm workers were labouring for nothing. They were seen as rats, as vermin. And the landed gentry often referred to them in those terms. And they said, no, we as Methodist preachers don't believe this should be the way it is. And we must make a difference. Joseph Arch, a primitive Methodist preacher, George Edwards from Norfolk, and our very own William Banks in Lincolnshire were the founders of the workers' unions. From their Methodist roots, they believed justice had to be done. To condense their efforts to a statement or a slogan is trite. But they did not stand idly by whilst the blood of their neighbours were mired in poverty and despair. Not to stand idly by. That inner spiritual fuel drove them to address the need in their day. And so social holiness, built upon convictions and values, have been, in part, this chaplain's fuel. I hope my fuel. And I truly want this to continue beyond me. I've got a few years to do yet. And that is why we're trying to raise a fund to ensure that this role goes on ad infinitum. Because I believe it must. For what is about to unfold in the rural landscape in Lincolnshire is going to be as dramatic as anything of the enclosures of a corn laws ever happened. It's going to be a terribly devastating time over the next 5 years. There's a lot to be done, and there's a great team in Lincolnshire Rural Support Network and in chaplaincy to meet it, but I need somebody else to be walking with me over the next few years to ensure that this road goes on for a long time. That inner spiritual fuel drove them, and hopefully will drive us to ensure this post continues. So social holiness, built upon convictions and values, have been the chaplain's fuel. We want this to continue. We want this to continue, don't we? Yes. Say yes a bit louder. Yes. John Wesley, there's a legend that says, do all the good you can, by all the means you can, in all the ways you can, in all the places you can, at all the times you can, to all the people you can, as long as you ever can. A privilege, a joy, a precious gift. Long may this role continue. Are your prayers for support and your gifts. An African proverb says, the best time to plant a tree is 25 years ago. The next best time is today. That is meant in both ways, not just about a person's role, but the very environment we're living in. Do justice, love mercy, and walk humbly with your God was the first text I ever saw at a chapel window. It got said, do justice, love mercy, and walk humbly with your God. Thank you for being here today. That'll do. Amen.